and I told you that he would opt out after a season and that Alex Bregman would then re-sign with the Red Sox? The old opt-out re-sign. I've got all the leverage, which is why we can't give players opt-outs like this. Alex Bregman wouldn't opt out if he didn't have opportunities elsewhere. Alex Bregman would have opportunities elsewhere to get more guaranteed money than he has left on his little pillow deal. Therefore, he'll opt out, and the Red Sox want to bring him back, need to bring him back, so they get totally screwed. Alex Bregman on June 26th, we had to wait to see. I think we told you that Bregman was going to opt out and then re-sign with the Red Sox. I think we made it our official wait to see, which you can find on davidsamsonpodcast.com. We have a document that has all of our wait to sees, all of our crappy picks of the day. Although they're not always crappy. I'm just cold right now. I'm so super cold. You're asking the question, do the Red Sox have the advantage? Will they get a first meeting, first bid? So the way it works is for a player when they have an opt-out is their agent calls 29 teams. They also understand exactly what their current team is willing to do because you have the conversation with your GM. If you think that Bregman and Craig Breslow have not discussed the opt-out, Alex's agent, you're just wrong. They have totally discussed it, but the way it works is the leverage goes to the player, which is why opt-outs are so bad, because the agent says to the team, hey, just so you know, we've got blank. The problem is that Scott Boras lies all the time with what he has. He doesn't have it at all, and we know it. So if he tries, like with Pete Alonso, when he tries to let you know that Pete Alonso wants a 7-year deal, give me a break. Pete Alonso's not getting a 7-year deal. Pete Alonso can go to the Mets right now and say, hey, Stevie, we got 7. Stevie will say, see you later, Pete. Thanks for everything. Have fun. And then Boras is like, oh, crikeys. We don't have 7. We don't have 6. We don't have 5. Do I hear a 4? Don't worry. Hang out, Pete. I'm going to get you the 4. Don't you worry. Oh, all right. We'll take 1 year. We'll give you an opt-out again. We'll do it all again. When do you think that Scott Boras' clients realize that Scott Boras actually doesn't perform for the players the way that he wants you to think he does? I'm just curious, when will that happen? When will that be the case? I keep thinking it will be. One of these days. When Pete Alonso doesn't get 7 years, do you think that Scott Boras will be like, oh, 7 years? No, the best fit from this player was right back with the Mets, right back with a 3-year, $75 million deal. That was perfect. We want to finish what we started and bring a world championship to the New York area with the only team that he's ever played on. The love that he's got for the Big Apple, it's palpable. It puts tears rolling down his stream like it's love affair with Warren Beatty and Annette Bening. I'll meet you at the Empire State Building type of stuff. Give me a small break. No, you don't get first meetings, first bids when you're the team. I shouldn't say it that way. I want to be nicer. You asked a question. You took the time to get on our website. You may have even bought a shirt. So here's the answer. When a player like Alex Bregman or Pete Alonso opt out of their deals, they are giving opportunities to all 30 teams. But of course, they say to their current team that that's where they want to be. They say that they have no interest in leaving. They say that they want to work together with the front office to come to a deal that's fair, that's equitable. And you say to yourself, wait a minute, we did that already. But you demanded this opt-out that you're now using as a sword. How dare you? I wouldn't say that to a player. I'd say that to myself. How dare me? How dare me give an opt-out to a player and then be upset when it's used against me? Who am I kidding? What's going to happen with Bregman is going to be quick, I do believe. The Red Sox are not going to want to screw around. I would expect him to sign, to opt out as soon as he can after the World Series, and then to sign as quickly as possible with the Red Sox. Because you know you're going to sign him. You know you don't have leverage. Just let it be. Pete Alonso, different story. I don't think Steve Cohen's in any rush to sign Pete Alonso, Coca. Why should he be? I think Pete Alonso sits. When did Pete Alonso sign with the Mets last year? Is there a chance there was an F on the calendar? I really want to say there was, Coca. You're going to say there may have been a J for January, but I think there was an F for February. Although that's so close to spring training, and you've got the World Baseball Classic, so you really want to get deals done earlier than F. I don't know. We'll find. February 5th. We had it right. There was an F. Hey, you're a Mets fan, Coca. You want Pete Alonso back? Like, is that critical that Pete Alonso's back on a big-time deal? I want to spend 2 to 3 minutes on one other thing that'll drive you crazy, Coca, but I have to do it. All the players that I've dealt with who have opt-outs or who have leverage, when their agent is not Scott Boras and they've got a Mensch for an agent, when they've got a Joel Wolfe as an example for an agent, you know that you're able to have a conversation about the opt-out, a conversation about the average annual value, a conversation about years, about comp. You're able to sit down and actually talk like human beings. When you're dealing with Boras players, all you do is get yelled at and spoken down to about why you've so badly underpaid his player and how his player is the only player you need to win a title. Can you imagine Scott Boras saying to Steve Cohen this offseason, all you need is Pete Alonso and you got yourself a title? What I never understood about that is they had Pete Alonso. Forget winning a title, although they did make it to the LCS one year, but forget winning a title, they didn't even make the playoffs last year. Do you know what else I love that Scott Boras does? This is a classic Boras move. I know that you need this player who's opting out. Let's negotiate right now. But Stevie, my man, my boychick, you know very well that you also need pitching. Let me tell you about the pitchers I have in my stable. These are the difference makers. You would think that you could build a team of Scott Boras clients and win the World Series every single year. You'd really assume that by the way he talks. And I'm imagining right now, Coca, Steve Cohen getting the call because it sure as heck fire is not going to be David Stearns. Steve Cohen gets the call from Scotty Boy. Steve, tough year, tough year. I gave you some time. I gave you some space, but you got to move on. It's now time to focus on 26. And the best thing for you to do is to BPB. Bring Pete back. Now we got to talk about years. We got to talk about years. I believe that it is only fair that you reward Pete Alonso because last year you got a break. We gave you a gift, Scott Boras would say to Stevie Cohen. You got a gift in Pete Alonso last year. The first half that he had, it was to die for. And Steve Cohen, you got to have the cojones to say on the other side of the line, once you're done ignoring the entire call or a meeting with Boras, you got to have the ability to say, Scott, we're not incrementally better bringing Pete Alonso back. He was back, and look what happened to us. So we think we're going to reallocate the money. Do you have any other players that we could overpay that you can think of? Hold on a second. Boras would respond, I've had agents do this. It always makes me laugh. You don't want this player? Well, I got another one for you.